No, I was addicted before that. I started weed when I was 12, and then I worked up to like acid and coke when I was like 14. And then when I was 15, a pimp picked me up and
Homelessness is an escalating crisis in Memphis, a city celebrated for its rich culture and legendary music scene. Each night, hundreds of residents bed down on sidewalks, in parks, and beneath bridges, far from the neon glow of Beale Street and the bustle of tourist attractions. The contrast is stark. Behind the city's vibrant downtown, thousands struggle daily for shelter and the most basic necessities. How did Memphis, a place so deeply rooted in soul and blues, arrive at such a critical crossroads?
And I can honestly say that I believe that the people that are responsible for the homeless funding have been misappropriating the funding for years, and nobody's ever blown the whistle because nobody really cares to stand up for this city.
On a frigid night in January 2023, the annual point-in-time census counted 1,292 Memphians without a permanent home, a 7% increase from the previous year, and the city's highest toll in 6 years. Of that number, 856 people, 66.5%, were single adults. 430 individuals were members of 138 families with children, 33.2%. And 132 were veterans, 10.2%. The same survey identified 135 chronically homeless residents, 10.4%, who had been living on the streets or in shelters for more than a year while struggling with a disabling condition. The statistics reveal deep fault lines beneath the surface. Roughly 41% of respondents reported a diagnosed mental health condition, while 28% disclosed a substance use disorder. More than 1 in 5, 21%, had survived domestic violence within the past year. Youth homelessness, often hidden, accounted for 87 people under 25, including 16 unaccompanied minors. Over the course of 2023, the Office of the Medical Examiner recorded 47 deaths among people experiencing homelessness, nearly one every week. Geographically, the crisis centers downtown in Census Tract 41, bounded by Beale Street to the south and the Mississippi River to the west, where unsheltered counts routinely exceed 120 people per square mile. Citywide, 13% of the homeless population, 165 individuals, lives unsheltered. Yet in Midtown's Poplar Corridor, that share nearly doubles. Semi-permanent encampments stretch under the I-240 interchange, along railway spurs in North Memphis, and beneath Riverside Drive's levee, places where outreach teams often cannot move residents into shelter quickly enough. Capacity still falls far short of demand. Memphis and Shelby County maintain 3,435 year-round shelter beds, Yet between December 2023 and February 2024, emergency shelters averaged 102% occupancy. Operators laid cots in hallways and dining rooms just to keep people out of the cold. Families requesting shelter faced wait times of 11 to 13 days, while single adults often turned to nightly lotteries at the city's largest mission, where, on the coldest nights, only 1 in 3 applicants secured a bed. Housing pressures only deepen the crisis. The median rent for a one-bedroom apartment climbed 18% between 2021 and 2024. In 2023 alone, Shelby County courts issued 34,000 eviction filings, an average of 93 every day. Census microdata shows that 24% of Memphis households already spend more than half of their income on housing, leaving them one paycheck or one medical bill away from homelessness. Behind every figure is a face. The laid-off warehouse worker sleeping in his car by the river, the grandmother sheltering her 2 grandchildren in a motel after an eviction, the veteran battling PTSD beneath the Hernando de Soto Bridge. Their struggle is not just about the absence of a roof, but the daily fight for food, medicine, safety, and dignity in a city that moves on around them. How long can Memphis allow this story to continue before the numbers climb higher still? And what will it take to rewrite the narrative? While Memphis grapples with a homelessness crisis, an intricate, albeit overburdened, network of public agencies, faith-based missions, and grassroots nonprofits works tirelessly to prevent the most vulnerable from falling through the cracks. At the heart of this network is the Community Alliance for the Homeless, CAF, the lead agency for the Shelby County Continuum of Care. In fiscal year 2024, CAF helped direct over $18.2 million in federal HUD grants to 94 partner projects, from street outreach teams to permanent supportive housing developments, such as Alpha Omega Veteran Services' 38-unit campus in Fraser. On the government side, the Shelby County Division of Community Services administers emergency solutions grants, rapid rehousing stipends, and the local 211 resource line, which received over 64,000 calls for housing assistance last year. The division also operates a homeless court launched in 2022, which has dismissed or diverted 1,140 misdemeanor cases, helping remove legal barriers that often prevent people from securing leases or finding jobs. Beds remain the foundation of Memphis's safety net. As of January 2025, the county lists 3,435 year-round beds, 1,022 inches emergency shelters, 214 inches transitional housing, 1,497 inches permanent supportive housing, and 702 inches rapid rehousing or motel voucher programs. Yet, despite these efforts, winter overflow forces missions like Calvary Rescue and Union Mission to pack additional mats into chapel floors, underscoring the razor-thin margin between capacity and crisis. Special population programs complete the support infrastructure. The federally funded PATH initiative enrolled 1,426 individuals with serious mental illness in fiscal year 2024, connecting them to counseling, medication management, and housing assistance. Similarly, HUD-VASH provides 585 rental vouchers paired with VA case managers, reducing veteran homelessness in Memphis by nearly 50% since 2015. For families, MIFA's Emergency Housing Partnership handled 3,780 hotel night stays, providing safe shelter for parents and children who would otherwise sleep in their cars. Healthcare access is equally vital. Christ Community Health Services operates mobile clinics that logged 23,500 patient encounters at encampments and shelters last year. Meanwhile, Methodist Labanher Healthcare's room in the Inn Recuperative Care Wing saved local hospitals an estimated $4 million by discharging homeless patients to supervised beds instead of leaving them on the streets. Dental buses, free vision screenings, and weekly vaccination drives further highlight the creative and resourceful patchwork keeping people alive in the face of extreme need. Yet, the cracks in the system remain. Wait times for inpatient addiction treatment average 19 days, far longer than the critical 72-hour window during which many clients are ready to accept help. Documentation hurdles disqualify nearly 1/3 of applicants for housing vouchers, and overlapping databases mean case managers sometimes duplicate efforts or miss essential updates. With Memphis projected to lose 600 units of naturally affordable housing each year, advocates warn that today's safety net may buckle under tomorrow's demand. These gaps raise a difficult question. With the safety net stretched so thin, what deeper forces are pushing so many Memphians into homelessness, and how can the city confront those root causes?
John, fuck you, little motherfucker.
Digging deeper into the causes of homelessness in Memphis reveals a tangled web of economic, social, and historical forces that converge on the city's most vulnerable residents. At the heart of the issue is the relentless grip of poverty. Memphis consistently ranks among the highest in poverty rates for large U.S. cities, 22.6% overall, and a staggering 36.3% for children. These figures aren't just numbers. They represent refrigerators left empty at the end of the month, parents working multiple part-time jobs with no benefits, and seniors forced to choose between buying medication or paying rent. For many families, a single setback, whether it's an unexpected medical bill, an accident that sidelines the breadwinner, or a sudden layoff, can push an already fragile household into homelessness. In a city where the average renter must work nearly 70 hours a week at minimum wage just to afford a modest 2-bedroom apartment, the margin for error is razor thin. Tied closely to poverty is a severe shortage of affordable housing. Housing advocates estimate that Memphis needs roughly 33,000 additional units for extremely low-income families to meet current demand. Yet, as construction costs rise and investors snap up older apartment complexes, rents have steadily increased. Entire blocks that were once considered naturally affordable are now being transformed into high-end lofts and short-term rentals, particularly near the riverfront and the South Main Arts District. As rents climb faster than wages, eviction notices become a regular fixture on many doorways. Shelby County's eviction rate routinely doubles the national average, and an eviction record, often acquired without legal representation, becomes a permanent stain, locking families out of future housing opportunities. The crisis deepens when mental health challenges and substance use disorders are factored in. Tennessee ranks among the lowest in the nation for per capita mental health funding, and wait lists for publicly funded treatment programs in Memphis can stretch for months. The shortage of psychiatrists is so severe that many patients end up cycling through emergency rooms or county jails instead of receiving consistent long-term care. Add to this the ongoing opioid epidemic, fueled by fentanyl and floodplain methamphetamine, and the journey from stable living to homelessness becomes tragically short. Without comprehensive, integrated treatment that addresses both mental health and addiction, individuals often spiral into chronic homelessness, making re-entry into permanent housing even more difficult. Overlaying all these challenges is a legacy of racial inequality. Decades of redlining, urban renewal, and disinvestment have left predominantly black neighborhoods with fewer job opportunities, lower quality schools, and aging housing stock. Black Memphians, who face a poverty rate nearly 10 percentage points higher than white residents, are disproportionately targeted by predatory lenders and high-interest loans, draining limited wealth and compounding housing instability. Systemic barriers, everything from credit scoring to landlord screening, further restrict access to the support services that could help break this cycle. Taken together, these forces create a perfect storm that funnels thousands of Memphians toward life on the margins. With this complex web of causes in mind, what specific solutions is the Memphis government implementing to combat this crisis?
Send me my money.
Faced with a crisis that threatens both public welfare and the city's long-term economic vitality, Memphis leaders have begun crafting one of the most expansive homelessness response frameworks in the Mid-South. At the center of this effort is 901 Home Together, a multi-year plan endorsed by the mayor's office and modeled after the federal Home Together strategy. Beyond broad vision statements, the plan sets clear, measurable targets: reduce unsheltered homelessness by 25% within 3 years, achieve functional zero for veteran homelessness, and ensure no family stays without emergency shelter for more than 30 days. To make these goals achievable, Memphis is leveraging diverse funding sources. The Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, now allocates a fixed 15% for homelessness prevention, about $3 million annually. The Home Investment Partnerships Program, HOME, channels an additional $5 million into gap financing for affordable housing construction. In 2024, the city partnered with the Tennessee Housing Development Agency to combine these funds with low-income housing tax credits, LIHTC, unlocking 420 new, deeply affordable units slated to open by 2026. Every development funded through the 901 Home Together pipeline must set aside at least 20% of units for households exiting homelessness and provide on-site social service coordination. Another key component is the Continuum of Care, COSI, TN 501, a network of more than 60 agencies that share one homeless management information system, HMIS. This system has shifted the focus from merely expanding shelter capacity to a housing first plus model. Under this approach, individuals are quickly moved into permanent housing within 90 days, followed by 12 to 24 months of wraparound services, including mental health and employment support. Thanks to a new HMIS analytics dashboard, outreach teams can flag high-risk individuals in real time, cutting the average wait for a shelter bed in half during Code Red divided by Code Purple weather emergencies. Recognizing that housing alone won't solve the crisis, Memphis has expanded key programs to address its complex causes. The city added 150 new HUD-VASH vouchers for veterans in 2024 and doubled the number of PATH outreach staff focusing on severe mental illness. At the same time, an innovative landlord engagement and risk mitigation fund reimburses property owners for damages or unpaid rent during the first year of tenancy, removing a major barrier to leasing units to families with eviction histories. Prevention remains a top priority. The Memphis Eviction Diversion Initiative, MEDI, places legal aid attorneys and mediators inside Shelby County's busiest housing court, resolving an average of 120 cases per month and keeping roughly 400 households housed each quarter. Paired with emergency rental assistance, now disbursed within 72 hours through a streamlined digital portal, these efforts aim to intercept families before they enter the homelessness pipeline. However, even with these aggressive moves, demand still outpaces available resources. Waiting lists for permanent supportive housing hover near 18 months, and funding challenges are growing as federal pandemic relief winds down. Memphis is now looking to private employers for help through Hire 901, a job placement program that guarantees interviews for shelter residents who complete workforce readiness training. These collective efforts are a significant leap beyond piecemeal charity, but the crucial question remains, will this layered strategy be enough to create lasting change? Or must Memphis push further into bold, untested solutions to secure a future where every resident has a place to call home? To make a decisive impact on homelessness, Memphis must not only scale up existing programs, but also venture into bold, innovative solutions. First, the city could launch a landlord partnership fund, a hybrid system combining risk insurance and performance bonuses. This fund would reimburse landlords for damages, guarantee on-time rent payments, and offer annual tax credits to property owners who set aside a portion of units for extremely low-income tenants. Pairing this with streamlined inspections and a unified digital portal for voucher processing would eliminate red tape and encourage more private housing providers to join the effort. Shelter infrastructure also needs a major rethink. Instead of just adding more beds, Memphis should convert underutilized public buildings and vacant motels into 24/7 low-barrier navigation centers. These centers could offer lockers, pet accommodations, and on-site case management, providing a safe, welcoming space for people in need. A triage clinic staffed by nurse practitioners from Christ Community Health Services could ensure rapid medical and mental health assessments the moment someone walks through the door. Long-term stability depends on comprehensive wraparound services. Imagine an integrated system where case managers, behavioral health clinicians, and job placement coaches share real-time data via the HMIS platform. Clients could move through a structured pathway, starting with detox or counseling, followed by skill training at Memphis Works, apprenticeships with companies like FedEx and AutoZone, and ultimately placement in subsidized housing. To keep policies grounded in reality and ensure accountability, a lived experience council could be created. This council would consist of formerly homeless residents who are compensated as consultants, offering invaluable insights and helping guide policy decisions. Prevention, however, remains the ultimate cost saver. A city-funded right-to-counsel program could provide free legal representation for tenants facing eviction, while a swift cash stabilization grant would send up to $2,500 within 48 hours to households experiencing financial crises. Paired with neighborhood financial literacy workshops, these measures could prevent many families from ever losing their homes. With these layered interventions, landlord incentives, humane shelters, integrated services, and aggressive prevention, Memphis has the potential to shift from merely managing homelessness to systematically ending it. The pressing question now is our community ready to unite and champion these transformative solutions? Homelessness in Memphis is not just a local issue. It reflects broader societal challenges that demand urgent empathy and action. Government and community efforts must work in tandem, providing immediate relief while building long-term sustainable solutions. Involving those with lived experience of homelessness in policymaking ensures that solutions are realistic, grounded, and responsive to actual needs. Every individual can contribute, whether through small acts like volunteering, advocating for policy change, or simply offering support to those in need. Together, we can be the change Memphis so desperately needs. Homelessness in Memphis is deeply rooted in economic inequality, a shortage of affordable housing, mental health challenges, and racial disparities. To truly address this crisis, solutions must be innovative, community-driven, and focused on proactive prevention. By bringing together government initiatives, nonprofit organizations, the private sector, and individuals, Memphis has the potential to not only reduce homelessness, but ultimately eliminate it. With collective action and compassionate policymaking, we can transform Memphis into a city where homelessness is rare, brief, and non-recurring. A city where everyone has a place to call home.